It's on. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Berea City Council meeting, Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please let the record reflect that a quorum is present. This time, I would call on Steve Davis to lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Steve.
If you would pray with me. Father God, we come here tonight with saddened hearts with the violent loss of life in our community last night. Lord, we pray for the family. We also pray for those that lost their lives in the helicopter crashes and the jet crashes in D.C. and Philadelphia, Lord. A lot of young lives lost there, and we just pray for those families because that will take years to get over if you ever do. And we also pray for our fellow councilman Jerry Little, who had hand surgery and doing well. And Lord, we pray for this council that we may do good things for the city of Berea and work well together and work well with others in the community. And we just ask for your wisdom and guidance in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge.
Thank you, Steve. Before we move on to the approval of the agenda, I do have a request to amend the agenda to add resolution number 03-2025, which everybody should have a copy of. May I have a motion to add that? By Ron Terrell. Is there a second by Cora Jane Wilson? Any discussion on the motion to add resolution number 03-2025 to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to add resolution number 03-2025 to the agenda for tonight, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
And all opposed, please say no. The motion carries. At this point, I would request a motion to approve the agenda as amended by John Payne, second by Steve Davis. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries and the agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our January 21st, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
By Steve Cottle, and I heard a second from Teresa Centers. Any discussion, changes, or corrections for the minutes? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from January 21, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, please say no. The motion carries and our minutes are approved. Tonight, I'm very happy to welcome supporters of Dance Blue. Steve Cottle mentioned this at our last council meeting, and I would like to give the floor to Steve to introduce our guest speakers.
Yeah, so last council meeting, I talked about Dance Blue at Silver Creek, and I fumbled through it and did a terrible job. So I thought I would invite someone who I knew would do a much better job than I ever could. So Miss Adeline Prevette, if you can come up to the mic, we would love to have you talk about Silver Creek's Dance Blue and whatever else you want to talk about.
I found out I had kidney cancer on February 7th of last year. I just finished treatment this month and will have scans every 3 months coming up. I was able to get through the treatment because of Dance Blue. What is Dance Blue? Dance Blue is a student-run group at UK that raises money for the fight against childhood cancer while helping families and patients. Students raise money for year-round and then have a big dance marathon for 24 hours where they don't sit down, don't sleep, and show their total amount raised. We are hosting a mini marathon at my school, Silver Creek, on February 28th. What is Dance Blue to me? Dance Blue is my UK student volunteers who play games with me and help pass the time by keeping me company. Dance Blue is the kind nurses who help treatment move along quick so I don't have to stay there long. Dance Blue is my child life specialist, Sydney, who holds my hand during poor accesses and explains things to me so I don't get scared. Dance Blue is gas cards, hotel rooms, and food for my family. Dance Blue is the iPads, video games, card games, and crafts given to me so I don't get bored. When I had to go to another clinic for a time during treatment, I didn't have any of those things, and it made those visits really hard. We are so lucky to live close to the Dance Blue Clinic. It's one of a kind. I am also really thankful to be supported by this town and my school, Silver Creek, during my treatment. I felt loved and cared for, and my community and friends here really helped me get through some hard times. The mini marathon at February 28th at Silver Creek will raise money which will go to the Dance Blue Clinic. I hope you will support it and help get the word out about such a great cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Abilene. That was outstanding. And I will ask Steve or any family members that might want to chime in, how people can help if they want to rally around and support the Dance Blue and the mini marathon.
February 28th. Jenny, you can talk if you'd like. You want to come to the mic? So those who out in the TV land can hear you as well.
And the good thing is we have people from the press that'll kind of help get this in the newspaper as well, but we want to help you and Abilene kind of get the word out on this important initiative.
This is Jenny Prevett, Abilene's
Jenny.
wonderful mother.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, anything that you guys can do to help raise awareness for this. We're always looking for corporate sponsors, so any businesses that could provide us with concession stand, food and water, soda, or just a money donation to the cause. We've already surpassed our goal of 5,000, which is amazing. This is our first year doing this, and that was a lofty goal, but we've already surpassed that, which is amazing. And that's thanks to the community and our friends who have been there for us. And so yeah, any way to get the word out. The community is invited to come. It's not just for students and teachers at Silver Creek. So yeah, any questions?
February 28th at
5:30 to 8:30. Doors open at 5. We currently have a T-shirt promotion going on, and Silver Creek Facebook has posted the link to that, and that's currently, I think, what we're doing.
Good. Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Questions, or Jenny, if you don't mind to hang around just for a minute, we
any
might have
questions?
a
Yep.
question or two. Ronnie?
I want to challenge the council to give $100 a piece per head to start it off.
Sounds good.
I accept it.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Corjane. Any other comments or questions for Jenny or for Steve or about the events? Please.
I just have a comment for Abilene. Steve was right. You are eloquent, and I just can't wait to see what God's going to do with you in your life. You're a sweet little girl.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? But I do want to thank everybody that was here and everybody that was here supporting Abilene. There's a lot of family that people may not be able to see, but Abilene, thank you too for coming and presenting to us and doing such a great job, and for your courage. So I'm going to work with Steve and try to get some information out to council members that you can share with your constituents and friends, and also maybe where we'd mentioned businesses, we may also share that with the chamber. So Steve, I'll work with you and we'll get the word out. But thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Abilene and family.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Can we drop the money off at the Silver Creek School?
Yes, checks can be made to Silver Creek PTO.
Okay.
Do they need to put Dance Blue at the bottom?
Yeah, yes, that would be great for the memo.
Good.
I will say Steve sent a very easy link to me that you can just go on and do it
Yeah, I'll send that
online.
out to
Takes
everybody.
2 minutes.
Good.
Was
There is a
easy.
link. Yep.
Thank you.
And we have had several council members who have already jumped in, so thank you for your
Good.
support and
I
continue.
have a hunch that we're going to have several more. So
Thank you.
thank
It
you all
means a lot.
again, and good luck with the fundraiser, and we're with you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you all. All right, moving forward, we do have a safety supplies contract that we would like to enter into. The person that we would like to enter into the contract with is Adam Coombs, who owns Endeavor Fire Protection. And also Adam is a City of Berea firefighter. So our ethics ordinance is very specific on what we need to do to move into a contract like this, and it does require council approval. Before I go into the details, and without objection, I would like for our interim city administrator, Sean Sandlin, to share a little bit with us about the bid that went out, the bids that we got back, a little bit about Adam and Endeavor and what we're wanting to contract for, the specific purpose of it. And once Sean presents that, I will go through the ethics ordinance and make that a part of the public record, and then I would request a vote on this. So Sean, you have the floor if you want to go ahead and take it.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just a little backstory on that. In October, Northwind Safety Corporation was contacting us and wanting to terminate their contract as the City of Berea for our medical supply cabinets, our AED certifications, and all of our fire extinguishers that we have citywide. This left us in a predicament to where we didn't have something to take care of these essential services. So we went to bid on this. We sent out an RFP to cover all city departments. That bid was the only one that was submitted. So Endeavor Fire Protection, at the cost of $7,775.80, submitted their bid, and we looked at that and determined that that bid is actually lower than the original contracted price that we'd had with Northwind over the past several years. We probably contracted with them probably 8 years, and now they chose to terminate that, so we needed to have another contract in place. Adam has a current fire extinguisher company, so he knew the deficit that we had within the city, so he chose to add that other service onto his business so that we could also have that in our city. So yeah, him being a city employee, we knew we had to go through the ethics, the code of ethics certification, and looking at that and how to go about that. So I think the mayor is going to talk about that now. So I can answer any questions that you might have on that. It's a little bit.
Before we move into the ethics ordinance and that part.
Sean, what was the previous amount we were paying, do you know?
Well, this contract looks a little different than the one before. The one before was like $21,000, but it included everything. And in Adam's price list, he give us price lists for stuff that he might have to add to the medical supply cabinets, and he feels like that we can still save $7,000 in that as a total. We wasn't utilizing those medical cabinets as much as what Northwind had bid those for. So we feel like we'll know more after this first year, but we feel like we'll still save about $7,000.
Other questions for Sean about the bidding process?
Not necessarily about the bidding process. Sean, why did the previous supplier terminate the contract?
Well, actually, they're from out of state. They're from Ohio, I think, and they chose to not do any in Kentucky. So they terminated all of their companies that they had in Kentucky. Yeah, Adam just happened to work with them or work for them, and everybody else had already terminated, and we was the last ones. And basically, because he worked with us, he was continually doing this, and then the company just chose to terminate his employment and then our contract at the same time.
So he's already well versed in all this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's done it for the whole 8 years that we've had a contract with them. Prior to his employment here, he worked for them.
Other questions for Sean, or anything y'all would like to discuss about the bidding process, the sole bidder, and the need for the service, and kind of what they would do? Katie?
When we do this, if this moves forward, how long is the term of the agreement and how does that work?
Katie, I do not know what that contract looks like. I have the contract with me, but I don't know if there was a term limit of 1 year or with a possibility to renew
Right,
every
yeah.
year. I'm not for sure what that is. I can get you that detail tomorrow.
Katie, I can give a little insight to that, and I would ask if Jerry, our corporate counsel, to jump in if I miss anything here. Typically on contracts like that, we usually do them for a period of time, such as 1 year, and we always have an exit clause in there where either party can exit the contract with like a 30-day notice period typically, but that can vary just on the nature of the supplies and how long it might take us to get a replacement. So I would think that our corporate counsel, Gilberts, would develop a contract with that in mind that would be in the best interest of, I'm sorry?
You are correct. It's 1 year, 12
1 year.
months. from
And
the date.
then we could renew that, or we could choose to bid it back out, but we could also, it would also have an exit clause in it, and terms for either party to leave the contract. Accurate?
All contracts go through our office for approval.
Okay. Other questions for Sean? Seeing none, Sean, thank you for giving the background on that. And what I'm going to be reading from now is Berea City Ordinance, Chapter 27.001 on conflict of interest in training. And I will read item A, pursuant to KRS 61.252, no officer or employee of the city or any city agency shall directly or through others undertake, execute, hold, or enjoy in whole or in part any contract made, entered into, awarded, or granted by the city or a city agency except as follows. And there are 4 exceptions, and I will refer to exception number 3. The prohibition in subsection A, which I just read, of this section shall not apply if the contract is awarded after public notice and by competitive bidding, unless the officer or employee is authorized to participate in establishing the contract specifications, awarding the contract, or managing the contract performance after the award is awarded, which in this case Adam would not be. If the officer or employee, in this case an employee, has any authority set forth in the preceding sentence, then the officer or employee shall have no interest in the contract unless the requirements set forth in 4 below are satisfied. And in section 4, it says the prohibition in subsection A of this section shall not apply in any case where the following requirements are satisfied. A, the specific nature of the contract transaction and the nature of the officer or employee's interest in the contract are publicly disclosed at a meeting of the governing body of the city or the city agency, and this is the governing body that's mentioned. B, the disclosure is made part of the official record of the governing body of the city or city agency before the contract is executed, which if this body chooses to approve this, it would be made part of the minutes of this meeting. C, a finding is made by the governing body of the city or city agency that the contract with the officer or employee, in this case Adam Coombs, is in the best interest of the public and the city or the city agency because of price, limited supply, or other specific reasons before the contract is executed. And in this case, I would cite price as being the sole bidder and being cheaper than what the service was before. And finally, item D, the finding is made part of the official record of the governing body of the city before the contract is executed, which again, it would be if the council so chooses to approve this contract with for safety supplies with Adam Coombs, who is a firefighter and owner of Endeavor Fire Protection. Is there a motion to approve the contract with safety supplies?
Motion to approve the contract on the grounds that this body finds that based on the price and also being the sole bidder, that is in the best interest of the city to enter into the contract.
So, yeah, motion by Steve Cottle with a second by Ron Terrell. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to award the contract to Endeavor Fire Protection, Adam Coombs, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries. Thank you all very much. The next item, I ask you to amend the agenda to add resolution number 03-2025, and you have a copy of that in front of you. The preamble, a resolution approving and authorizing an assistance agreement between the City of Berea, Kentucky and the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority to provide up to $1,173,800 of loan funds for project number B21-001. And before I read the balance, this does refer to the airport modernization project for the water and the sewer. And I will go ahead and read the whereas clauses. Whereas the City Council, the governing authority of the City of Berea, Kentucky, the borrower has previously determined that it is in the public interest to acquire and construct certain facilities and improvements, also known as the project, to the borrower's wastewater system, and whereas the borrower has made application with the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, also known as the authority, for the purpose of providing monies to construct the project, and whereas in order to obtain such monies, the borrower is required to enter into an assistance agreement with the authority, the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. This is referred to as the assistance agreement. Now therefore it is resolved by the City of Berea, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that the governing authority hereby approves and authorizes the assistance agreement between the borrower and the authority regarding project number B21-001, substantially in the form on file with the borrower for the purpose of providing the necessary financing to the borrower for the project. Section 2, that the mayor and the city clerk of the borrower be and hereby are authorized, directed, and empowered to execute necessary documents or agreements and to otherwise act on behalf of the borrower to effect such financing. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect at the earliest time provided by law. I want to provide a little bit of an explanation on this before I ask for a motion. I got this late last night and did not see it until this morning. The award, the airport board voted today already to recommend approval of the awarding the contract for the water and the sewer extension project to Chastain Enterprises, and that will be brought to me tomorrow. George White is the airport board chair, and I will look at that, make sure we're in agreement, and then we're ready to move forward and actually get this thing awarded where we can start moving some dirt and get this project underway. Once the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority loan, which we are the host for, we're the vessel that everything passes through, this council has already approved, this council, the Richmond City Commission, Madison County Fiscal Court, and Eastern Kentucky University have all agreed to support and back this project. The loan will be repaid with rentals that comes from the airport board rental of aircraft hangars. Berea again is the host for this loan and the grant that comes from the Appalachian Regional Commission. This is the portion that is not covered by the over $1 million loan, $1.042 million from the Appalachian Regional Commission. And that is the reason that we wanted to get it on today. I didn't want to let this lay another 2 weeks because this has gone on long enough and we're ready to award the contract and move dirt. With that, that's an explanation. At this point, I would ask for a motion to approve and adopt resolution number 03-2025. Motion by Ronnie Terrell. Is there a second by Steve Cottle? Is there any discussion or anything that I can provide further clarification on, Steve?
Just one question. This council's not approving the vendor in that case. The board actually
No,
does that.
The board has voted to accept the recommendation of the project engineer to award the contract to Chastain Enterprises. So our vote is simply to approve this resolution that allows me to enter into the agreement, which Jerry and JT have and are looking at right now. It's pretty thick, but it's a standard agreement that you have to do to have the KIA loan. They'll look through it as to the legality and form, and will advise me, hopefully, that everything looks good. With your all's approval and corporate council thumbs up, we go ahead and sign it. Katie?
So this is just a clarification. I'm sure you've addressed this in the past. Are we passing through these funds to the airport, or are we instead paying the vendor?
We do not pay the vendor. My understanding is that that would be done by the airport board, Katie, but the city of Berea is the sponsor. more
Right,
or
yeah.
less, for the
Right.
grant and the loan. We were the applicant.
Yeah.
And we agreed to do that with the full support and backing of the partners in the airport, which would be City of Richmond, Madison County Fiscal Court, and EKU.
Bruce, is Chastain Enterprises, local, regional?
They are local. They're a Berea-based company.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other discussion or questions before we move to a vote? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 03-2025, please say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, please say no. Thank you all. Good discussion, and I'm looking forward to seeing that project move forward. The next item on the agenda is, actually, I got this out of order, but that's okay. This would be resolution number 02-2025. This is a MetroNet settlement agreement. Mr. Gilbert.
I'll summarize resolution number 02-2025 by title. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Berea, Kentucky, approving a settlement agreement by and between CMN-RUS LLC, formerly known as CMN-RUSC Inc. MetroNet, and the City of Berea, Kentucky, whereby MetroNet ceases to provide cable television service pursuant to its 2021 franchise. The franchise is terminated, and MetroNet enters into a new franchise for communication services only, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement.
Before we ask for a motion on resolution number 02-2025, Sean, did you want to talk a little bit about that, or did you want me to?
It's up to you. I can.
I'll let you
Basically,
go.
MetroNet chose not to do television for like 15 customers is all they had on their contract with that, and it's only television alone. So they chose to not do that, and then in the new agreement, they're just going to pick up the internet purposes and Wi-Fi. So in this resolution, it just covers the 15 customers that they no longer want to provide television for.
And then just to be clear that the MetroNet internet service will continue as it always has. This only involves.
Yeah, in the new ordinance that's next on the agenda will cover the new franchise fees and the new franchise. Sorry.
I just wanted to give Sean a chance to explain that before we ask for a motion. At this point, I'll request a motion to approve and adopt resolution number 02-2025.
So
I see a motion by John Payne and a second by Steve Davis. Any discussion on the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 02-2025?
I've got a question on,
Yes, sir.
on the settlement. Was
Yeah.
that a money settlement, or?
I think that there was a fee, Ronnie, but I think it was more in terms of to cover the city's cost and fees of $10,000,
Okay.
but not like anything punitive. Am I right on that, Sean?
You're correct. Yes.
Okay.
And I will say that the administration does recommend approval as well, just for the record. Any further discussion on the motion to approve?
Also,
or not?
just a note for the public, that looks like as per the agreement, they're offering a Fire Stick to the folks that are losing their cable service, so.
And my understanding is that they should be reaching out directly to the people who have television service to offer that assistance.
Yes.
Further discussion on the motion to approve and adopt resolution number 02-2025. Seeing none, I'll request a voice vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The motion carries, and resolution number 02-2025 is approved and adopted. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 01-2025, MetroNet franchise agreement, and this is the first reading. Mr. Gilbert.
Ordinance number 01-2025. I'll summarize by title. An ordinance of the City of Berea, Kentucky, granting unto MetroNet, its successors and assigns, the right, franchise, and privilege for a period of 10 years to acquire, construct, and maintain in the City of Berea, Kentucky, the necessary facilities for the operation and maintenance of a communication services system for the public and private use, and to use and occupy the public streets, highways, avenues, alleys, bridges, and public places for such purposes, and prescribing the terms and conditions thereof.
That is the first reading, and again, Sean alluded to the reason for this particular ordinance. But per past practice, I will open the floor for any discussion or comments. Teresa?
Question. I know when we brought MetroNet in, we were still, the residents could still use Spectrum or Connect, and I'm assuming that will still be the case.
Yes, my understanding is.
There's no exclusivity here.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Sean, is that yours as well?
That is correct. They're just providing another service if you choose to go.
Okay, just like it was.
Just like it was.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments or questions on the first reading of ordinance number 01-2025? Seeing none, we'll have the next reading on that at our second meeting in February in 2 weeks. Moving forward, department head reports, and I'm pleased to recognize Charlie Russell, our Assistant Fire Chief for the Berea Fire Department, who's our featured department head tonight, and also note that Charlie's doing a great job leading the department while Sean is in the acting city administrator role. Charlie, you have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you all. Good evening, council, mayor, city administrator. So, going to be talking a little bit about a year-end review from the fire department itself. So last year we had 899 calls for service, and I'm going to talk about a few of the numbers that we've had as far as the calls. So we had 15 building fires, 8 vehicle fires, 65 medical assist, 61 vehicle accidents with injuries, 97 vehicle accidents with no injuries, 7 searches for missing people, 10 gas leaks, 15 down power lines, 15 people locked out of their vehicles, animal rescues 9, 24 police and other governmental agency assist, 24 unauthorized burns, 85 dispatch and canceled en route, 27 scares or smoke odors, 13 false alarms, 3 bomb threats, 26 smoke detector activations, and then 6 mutual aid calls with other departments. Moving on, so I broke this down into calls for city limits and also in the county. So we had 679 calls of service in the city limits and 220 calls for service in the county this year, or last year. The paid staff and volunteers completed 6,034 training hours last year. That's a lot of training for sure. So we also give you a little bit of update on our career pathway at the school. We started out with 3 people. That has grown to 10. Having a meeting with Mr. Tim Moulton here Thursday. We're going to talk about buying some training props that we can also use with our volunteer agency. So the school is going to let us use that. So we participated in 41 public education events. This was about 81 hours and an estimated 1,000 interactions with the citizens. We had 4 new hires that started yesterday, and we'll be going to the Fire Training Academy in 2 weeks. So their first 2 weeks here is going to be going over administration, PPE drills, basic driver's training, and how to operate the fire apparatus. This will give them just a little bit more prepared for what they're going to see out in Western Kentucky. They will start a 13-week process, and this is going to be where they gain their firefighter 1 and 2 and their IFSAC driver operator. And I've talked about that a little bit in the past. So that IFSAC is an international accredited certification. So this will get them prepared for what they're going to be conducting at the 4 more weeks. They're going to be conducting a EMT class in July. They'll be going back for an additional 4 weeks. I'm sorry, I got off track there just a second. So Berea Tourism and the fire department's been working with Berea College on a joint effort on Brushy Fork Trails for signage to promote, this is going to promote tourism in the city, and also they're getting our input as far as the fire department on where to place the signs, because we've dealt with a lot of lost hikers, as you can tell, and we're talking about putting a QR code on those signs to where you can scan that and then help yourself get out in case you get lost. So they're also talking about helping with tourism with some giving a little bit of history of the area on the signs, and also a little bit of information about the forestry and then also wildlife in the area. So we also have 2 shift personnel that's going to be starting EMT class this month. This is a free EMT class that's kind of unheard of. That's going to be provided by State Fire Rescue Training. And we just promoted a new lieutenant, Waylon Clemens, due to a vacancy we had in the department. And then just a little bit of update on equipment. We've ordered 10 new SCBAs due to our old ones are getting outdated and being more costly to repair. And then just a little heads up for so far this year, up to today, we've had 91 calls for service already this year. Anybody got any questions?
Questions for Charlie Russell? Katie?
I have 2 questions related to staffing. I feel like we've heard more about the lag time in hiring police officers and when they can actually start working. You've mentioned the training that folks have to go through. So what's the period of time from when these folks start to when they can actually answer calls or?
So it really just depends. If they're lateral transfers, we run them through a 2-week training program in-house, and then that meets the ISO requirements, which then we can get them straight on shift and onto the truck.
So the new people who are doing the 13-week training, those are people who have never been firefighter.
Brand new, yep.
And then with great work finding 4 new people to come in, are you all fully staffed now, or do you still have vacancies?
This will fully staff.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Awesome.
Other questions for Charlie? Ronnie?
Hey, Charlie, we still have a part-time fire department, boys on the fire department.
Do we still have the seasonal working? Is that what you're
No, I was on the volunteer fire department. Do we still have the volunteer fire department?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How many members do we have there?
I think their active roster that I got was about 24 active members.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they've been growing.
It is, and it's really a good organization.
Yes, it is.
One other thing, did we have any body burned up last year in Berea, any of our building fires?
We did have one fatality fire last year, yes.
Where was it at? Do you remember?
Barrett Lane, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Other questions or comments for Charlie and the fire department?
It's really just a comment. I would say I appreciate, and in other reports we do the same thing, but I appreciate you going through all the breadth of calls that you all go through. I think a lot of times people just think of houses on fire, I call the fire department, which you should do that.
Oh, yeah.
But I've been there when a mom locked her kids in the car because she was putting toddlers in and keys fell and the kid pushed the button and it's 65 degrees outside and no clouds in the sky. And while that doesn't sound that scary, but when they start sweating, it's really scary. And having you all show up and quickly handle and assess situations and be calm, and really just in all of those situations, being a steady force in our community it's something that you probably don't get thanked enough for all that stuff that you do, but our fire department does an exceptional job and really goes above and beyond in any situation, whether your cat's in a tree or your kid's locked in a car. And so I just wanted to say thank you for going through all those calls so that people get an idea of the variety of things of which they should call you for.
Thank you. These are just some that's just some of our multiple reoccurring calls. This is just a touch of what we actually have, different types of service calls.
One thing, Charlie, I would ask, would you stop the fire department from, when they go by my house, setting that horn off? And it seems like it's at night.
Well, Brad Hilton doesn't work here anymore, but we still know where you live.
Okay. All right.
All right, Charlie, thank you, and appreciate you and all the men and women of the fire department for a job well done, and for also for our volunteers. And that's a teamwork. I know you guys train together and work together and provide world-class service to the citizens and businesses of Berea. So thank you, and please thank your department for us.
Thank you all.
All right. Would any other department heads like to address the council? All right. Seeing none, we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Would any members of the public like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward, and I'll recognize Interim City Administrator Sean Sandlin for the City Administrator's report. Sean.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just a couple of things tonight, information purposes only. We had a request from our 911 dispatch center to remove a affordable towing from our record list, and as part of the ordinance that we have in place on the record list, that's part of that is when we remove someone, and that decision is made by myself, Fire Chief, at this moment is Charlie Russell, and Police Chief makes that decision. And it was based upon we couldn't get a hold of the record service anymore. The phone was disconnected and they just wasn't answering. So as part of that ordinance, it is the appeal process comes to you guys. So just to give you a little heads up on that, I don't anticipate anything coming before you guys, but just to let you know that we did remove them from the record list. Also, on Saturday, I was driving through town, and I heard a song on the radio with the lyrics, "Forgive like crazy, love like crazy." And I thought for myself, to overcome all the division, hatred, negativity in this world, it's going to take all of us choosing to forgive like crazy and love like crazy to build a better Berea, Madison County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, and the United States. And I know that choice can start with me, but my question is, can it start with us? That's all I have, Mayor. I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Questions or comments for the City Administrator? Sean, thank you. Appreciate that, and appreciate your inspiring words that are from the heart. Thank you. We'll move forward to Mayor's comments, and that's a tough act to follow, man. You put the pressure on me. I want to start out, I feel like I can speak on behalf of our city government as a whole, including everyone here and all of our staff, in saying that our heart goes out to the family of the citizen who was killed on Baldwin Street last night. I also want to make a statement that violence is not the answer. Anytime that there are problems or disagreements, look for ways other than violence. Violence is not the answer. In that situation and the way it was handled last night, I want to thank our police department for the investigation of this violent crime and for making sure that the suspect was apprehended and incarcerated. It's another example of how a world-class police department operates. So, Chief and everybody that was involved in that, your whole department, thank you. Concludes my comments. We'll move forward to council comments and begin with Mr. Cobble.
This has been quite the council meeting, of which, when I looked at the agenda, I did not think it would be. I was sitting here thinking, and then Sean, dropping heavy thoughts over there, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate you all giving the opportunity for Abilene to come talk to us. I can tell you that I've watched her for the last year have such a fighting spirit and love people and not be, it's been a really hard year for them. And so my challenge actually to kind of go with Sean is I was going to say we should all be more like that. We should all use examples like Abilene, as she comes up here and speaks to a bunch of old people who, when you're 9 years old and everybody's sitting up here staring at you, that's a lot. And when, with all that she's dealt with, and to be able to come up here and do that, we need a little more of that in our life.
Thank you, Steve. Cora Jane Wilson. Cora Jane.
Thanks everybody that's here. I was thinking about Abilene, and for many of you that don't know, that is Frances and Jenny Boggs' great-granddaughter. For all you people that's been around for a while in Berea, Bob Boggs's great-great-great-grandchild. I'll put it in perspective. But she's an inspiration to anybody she comes in contact with. Her brother plays ball at Foley with Eli, and I watch her in the crowd and just mingling and talking, and just she's right on it. And if she don't win your heart over, go check yourself. I'm telling you, she is the trooper. But to go on with that, thanks everybody that spoke. Sean, thank you for making us think. I appreciate that. Need it. And that's all.
Thank you, Cora Jane. And Ronnie Terrell.
I want to bring up a problem at the crosswalk at Boone Tavern, because I don't know how many I've seen this year where students won't even look to see if anybody's coming either way. And I actually got one right in the center of the road, and I sat down on my horn because she didn't even look. And I've seen more. I mean, it's more going on in any year I've seen the college students around here. And I wish the police chief would get with the Berea College and explain what's going on and what we can do for the safety of the students, because I certainly hate to have one kill like we did 40 years ago, or whenever Fee got killed. So I still remember it, but
exactly.
we don't want that. That's all.
Thank you, Ronnie. Next, we'll move to Steve Davis. Steve.
May sound a little like a broken record, but be sure we get out and support the Dance Blue thing for Abilene. What a wonderful presentation she gave us, which is such a brave little beautiful girl. Just a blessing. Hope her health continues to improve. Appreciate those who come to the meetings and attend. It's encouraging, especially to those of us that are new at this. And appreciate Sean's remarks a lot. I think that was a good thought. Appreciate that, and I'll just leave you as usual with be blessed.
Thank you, Steve. And next, we'll go to John Payne. John.
I'll just want to thank everybody for coming out today, being part of this process, and thank Abilene for coming out and speaking to us today, and wishing everyone a good February.
Thank you, John. And next, we'll move to Katie Starsman.
Thanks. It's really great to hear about the work that the fire department is doing. Thank you so much, Charlie, for the data and the numbers and giving us a really nice overview of what y'all are doing. And I'm so happy to hear that y'all are fully staffed up for the upcoming year. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. And for the last word, Teresa Centers. Teresa.
Well, this whole meeting has left me sort of emotional, and I don't want to get choked up. So that's all the comment I have. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, Teresa. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn by Katie Starsman and a second by Steve Cottle? Any discussion? If none, all in favor? Motion to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The meeting is adjourned.